So I think I've unlocked the key to shading, and it's all thanks to Chris Ross art. Now, I don't want to get too excited because I'm still very new at this, so there are successes and there are not so good successes, but Chris Ross's method has changed the way I do shading for now. I hope it's changed the way forever, and I will link his Instagram account and the video in my description below if you want to go check out the video for yourself. So if you watched my last video, you saw me map out the most basic construction lines for these 6 heads, and I only got around to doing the details for the first 3, so I will link that video if you want to go back and watch that. This video is very similar. I'm going to go back and finish the other 3, but I'm going to be implementing that new shading method that I saw from Chris Ross's art. So something that is new for this 3 is that, I mean, this isn't new. I went in with my HB or H pencil, I forget which one I used. I think it was the HB because it's the short one. I went in with my HB pencil and did a very light sketch just to map out where everything is and try and get the proportions right, because I'm honest with myself and I am self-aware, and I know that I'm not a good enough artist yet to just visualize the structure of everything and go in blind and think I'm gonna come out with something that looks vaguely like a human being. So I went in and very lightly sketched out the proportions and tried to get everything in place. And then something new was that I went in with my kneaded eraser and erased out the darker lines that were there to have a very, very light sketch. And then very quickly I switched to my 3B, which is slightly darker. I don't know what the technical term for it is. I think it's softer. It's a softer lead, so it comes out darker. It's more smudgeable and juicy. And went in trying to map out the shapes of the shadows instead of focusing so much on the details. And that's something that I don't normally do, and I've heard from watching multiple art videos on YouTube and Instagram that that's a distinction between seasoned artists and amateur artists, is that the amateur artist goes into the details too quickly because we think that's what makes the portrait look good, whereas the seasoned artist, they understand that our brains fill in the gaps and our brains will fill in the details if we just give it the basic shapes. So they actually spend a lot more time on the basic shapes before they go into the details. And you'll notice from more seasoned artists that they can draw the most simplest thing with very minuscule details, almost abstract even, and it looks amazing and it looks accurate because they just understand shapes and form and planes, which is what this series is about me learning more of. So now that I've gone in with all the shadows, I'm going in, doing a few more of the details, trying to map out more of the finer lines and really get to like the eye, the eyeball, some eyelashes. And then I go back in and just deepen out some of the shadows. And I like how that ended up. I like what happened there. So I'm going to see if I can replicate it. Repetition, repetition, repetition. I will say that I loved this portrait, and I love how it turned out. It's by no means a masterpiece, but it's a work and it's getting there. I can see improvement coming with there, but front facing is always hard for me, especially front facing that kind of has light coming from the front. I think that's where the light's coming from. I struggle to figure out where the light's coming from, which is another reason why I struggle with shading. But especially when the light's coming from the front, I'm never quite sure where the shadows are. So I feel like you can see me going through a longer ugly phase with this one, and I actually end up pulling out the blending tool with this one because I wasn't satisfied with how it was looking, and I like how it ended up with the blending tool, but I wonder how things would have gone without the blending tool. Sometimes when we're panicking and we're thinking things aren't going right, we bring out too many tools thinking that we can salvage things, we can save things, and actually kind of make things worse. Yeah. But overall, she ended up okay. I just need to work on figuring out where to shade my front-facing divas. And you can see that I spent a lot longer kind of figuring out the shapes of the shadows with this one. With the first one, I think how the lighting is, how his face is angled, and just all the folds in his face, it was easy to see straight away where the light was hitting and where the shadows were forming and the shapes of the shadows and all those wonderful things. It was a lot harder with her just because of the lighting. The lighting wasn't as dramatic, and so yeah, it was harder to figure out where to go darker and where to go lighter, so I was a bit more tentative. With this one, I was a bit more hesitant about where to put my shadow shapes, but they start to come out by the end. I start to figure it out and get a bit more sustainably confident. I've heard artists before say that when they're drawing is almost like they're sculpting on paper, like they're kind of, especially when artists who draw in negative space, is like they're chipping away at the negative space to reveal what's underneath. And trying to map out the shadows with this blending stump was the first time that I felt an inkling of that. I've always loved the poetry of that. I think I'm a linguist at heart. I design and sell notebooks, and I love reading and writing, so that's one of my other creative passions. And so yeah, I love the poetry of that, and it's always been something that I wanted to tap into, but I've never known how to. And using this blending stump and looking for shadows was the first time that I felt an inkling of that. And so yeah, I like how she turned out. I wish I could have figured out clearer shadows, but it's a good start. It's a good starting point that I feel that I can build upon. This last one I was dreading. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I was dreading this one because the angle is horrible. I don't know what I was thinking choosing this angle. I know that's a lie. I know exactly what I was thinking choosing this angle. I wanted a challenge. You don't improve unless you do the hard things. So I wanted to start to try and work out this angle, and to be fair, it actually went a lot better than I anticipated, but it was painful. Throughout the whole time doing this, I was ready to quit. I was thinking maybe I just do this and I cut it out from the video, but then I thought it would look so awkward if you see this one unfinished one, or this one that I did finish but I didn't film. And then I thought about just erasing the whole thing and putting a new one there, but I was too lazy for that, so I persevered, and it's definitely the worst on the page. I feel bad saying that. I always feel like I'm offending the poor guy. It's not his fault, it's my fault. Definitely the worst on the page, but also I've learned that I'm quite forgiving of myself. It also didn't go as badly as I thought it would be, and I actually think that as I started to chip away at this one more and sculpt this one a bit more, it did start to come together. Those eyes are crazy. Like, those eyes look like they're bursting out of his skull, so I definitely need to figure something out with that for the next time. But But yeah, once I started to do a bit more shading, adjust a few things, I think it started to come together. You tell me, did it come together or am I delusional? At this point, I had to just, I could feel that I was getting in my head and I was getting tentative. So I had to talk to myself, do some self-talk and say, be bold with these shadows. It's worked for you in the past, the past being these 2 other drawings that I did in this session, but that still counts. It's worked for you in the past. So be bold with the shadows and just go for it and see what happens. Like, okay, so I'm posting this on the internet, so clearly I want it to look good. But also, part of this is to encourage people to just draw things, to just get in the practice of drawing things. And whether you share it or not, just get in the practice of drawing things. And at the end of the day, this is still a sketchbook, and a sketchbook is supposed to be where you experiment. So not everything in the sketchbook is going to look good. It is nice when you can do a sketchbook flip through and everything looks nice. And also there are lots of artists who have 2 sketchbooks. They have like their practice one and that to just hash out ideas and practice and do studies in, and then they have their proper one, quote unquote, which is the one where they do their nice spreads and everything looks pretty and pristine. And I have tried to do that but I don't yet have the confidence to go into something knowing that it's going to look good. It's all still an experiment, so I've just given up trying to do that. And at this point, all my sketchbooks have a mixture of good pieces and practice pieces, and that's okay by me. I mean, it's not, but I want it to be okay by me. I wanted to just embrace it. So that's the final spread. He didn't end up looking terrible. He does look like he got a bit of lip filler. And I also like comparing it with the last week's spread and to see that difference and that growth already. So thank you again to Chris Ross Art for his great shading tips. I'm going to be taking that on board. And thank you all for watching and coming along with this with me. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's